Emily had invited me to her birthday party. As I sat in the kitchen with my husband, drinking tea and nibbling on pie, Mike, my husband, suggested, "Why don't you go?" "She's hosting a girls-only party," I replied. Emily had only invited me, none of the guys. Mike looked at me, sensing my hesitation. "It's tonight, right? And tomorrow is Sunday, so there's no rush to get our son to daycare. If you want to go, I don't mind." I smiled, relieved by his understanding. But then he added, "You know, I'm not a fan of you hanging out with single women all the time. Married women should stick with their own crowd, don't you think?" His words stung slightly, but I still found myself pleading. "Mike, I just need a little time with friends. It's been nothing but work and chores day after day. I need a break." Mike sighed but relented. "Fine, I'm not a tyrant. Just don't drink too much. And if it gets too late, stay at Emily's. I don't want you wandering the city alone at night." Grateful, I kissed him on the cheek. He was a good man, someone my friends envied. We'd built a beautiful life together. He was kind, successful, and had provided for us in every way. When we married, his parents even gifted us the keys to a new apartment. Everything seemed perfect, but lately I'd felt trapped. The monotony of daily life weighed on me. A part of me craved excitement, a spark of something different. Emily's party was lively, to say the least. She had invited a mix of single friends, some of her co-workers, and a few male acquaintances I'd never met before. When I arrived, I helped Emily set the table as guests began to arrive. Soon, laughter and the clinking of glasses filled the air. The men brought plenty of drinks, and everyone was in high spirits. Conversations flowed freely, jokes and anecdotes kept us laughing, and eventually, someone turned on music. Chairs were pushed aside, and dancing began. As the night went on, I let myself relax, sipping wine and swaying to the rhythm of the music. I loved dancing. It had always been a passion of mine. In high school, I'd even taken ballroom classes. Tonight felt like a taste of those carefree days. But then, things blurred. The wine flowed too freely, and I lost track of how much I'd had. The next morning, I woke up to a splitting headache and an unbearable sense of unease. As I opened my eyes, panic set in. I was lying on an old mattress on a balcony. Next to me, a man I didn't recognize was sound asleep. We were both unclothed. She had no idea who he was. A name might have been shared at some point in the evening, but it escaped her. As she struggled to piece together the fragments of the night, her mind painted a picture of how it might have unfolded. The party had started innocently enough. Laughter, clinking glasses, and the low hum of conversation had filled the air. She remembered his presence, a quiet confidence that contrasted with the louder personalities in the room. He hadn't immediately approached her but had caught her eye from across the table, offering a subtle smile that made her pulse quicken. It wasn't until later, during the dancing, that he had stepped forward. "You look like you know how to move," he'd said, his voice deep and smooth. Sarah had felt the heat rise to her cheeks as she took his outstretched hand. Their first dance was playful, almost innocent. But as the evening progressed, the space between them grew smaller, the world around them faded, the noise of the party became a distant hum. His hand on her waist felt steady and grounding, while his other hand lightly held hers, guiding her effortlessly across the makeshift dance floor. "I don't usually do this," she had whispered at one point, though she wasn't sure whether she meant the dancing or the way her body responded to his touch. "Neither do I," he had replied, his lips curving into a slight grin that hinted at mischief. The moments that followed were a haze of sensations. They had slipped away from the main room, their laughter trailing behind them as they stumbled into the cool night air of the balcony. The city lights glittered below, but Sarah's focus was entirely on him. She remembered his hands brushing her hair back from her face, his fingers lingering at her jawline. The first kiss was tentative, almost questioning, but it quickly deepened. His touch was both gentle and demanding, awakening something within her that she had long suppressed. The rest was a swirl of warmth and urgency. The texture of the old mattress beneath her, the cool breeze against her skin contrasting with the heat of his body, and the way he murmured her name, Those fragments lingered in her mind, yet even in the moment, a part of her had felt disconnected, as though she were watching someone else succumb to temptation. The air smelled of alcohol and cigarettes. Empty bottles cluttered the corner of the balcony, and my heart sank. I scrambled to find my clothes, shaking with fear and shame. What had I done? What if I'd gotten pregnant? What if Mike found out? Sneaking through the unfamiliar apartment, I passed the remnants of last night's chaos. A messy table, stained tablecloths, and sleeping partygoers sprawled on couches. When I finally made it outside, the cold morning air hit me like a slap. My legs carried me without direction until I heard the sound of church bells. Tears streaming down my face, I stepped into the nearest church and knelt before an icon of Jesus. Guilt consumed me. I had betrayed Mike, my family, and myself. Whispering a desperate prayer, I begged for forgiveness, though I knew I'd never feel truly clean again. As I wept, one thought haunted me. Emily. Had she set me up? Why invite those men? Was she jealous of my happiness? But blame wouldn't change anything. My life was now split into before and after, and the weight of that night would follow me forever. Please subscribe to the channel and like it. You can also leave your comments. These actions help promote the channel on the YouTube platform and inspire me to release new sweet stories for you, my dear viewers.